We have a shocking New York Jets update as a Jets insider has revealed the team's new plans in regards to finding players in the NFL draft who fit into their system very well while targeting a specific position of need. Obviously, the Jets have a few different areas to target, and one of them that they've shown some interest in is that quarterback slot, and now we've seen new names emerge for the New York Jets in different parts of the upcoming NFL draft, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And if you guys are enjoying the channel, if you're having fun watching Jets Digest, guys, we have some excellent news. We are just 9 subscribers away from 5,000 subs, so make sure to subscribe to this place for all Jets content if you're part of that 71% that's not subscribed to Jets Digest. All that being said, let's jump into the video. We do have a lot to discuss on the New York Jets, as the team has gone out and is looking for multiple different prospects at multiple different positions, and one of the lesser talked about positions is the quarterback spot because the weakness at the top of the draft in regards to quarterbacks. Well, the New York Jets, they do have interest in picking some quarterbacks, and now we have a new update on one of them, and really a few of them specifically, but one specific guy has started to stick out for the Jets who they clearly have a good amount of interest in. And it was mentioned by Rich Cimini that if the Jets are interested in taking a quarterback, they're taking a stealth approach to things. There hasn't been a parade of top 30 visits to One Jets Drive. In fact, only 2 have been reported. Tyler Shough and Cam Miller from North Dakota State. They met with Jalen Milroe as well at Alabama, and they had coaches present at the pro days for many of the other second-tier prospects, but they're not coming off as a team hell-bent on adding a quarterback. However, it's very clear that they do like Tyler Shough out of Louisville. Now, Tyler Shough's an interesting guy because, one, that at the end of the day, that is how you pronounce his name, and I refuse to let anyone tell us otherwise, because we looked it up right before this video to make sure we could pronounce Tyler Shough's name right. He himself told an interviewer how to pronounce his name, and on top of that, well, he's a 25-year-old, so he should know how to pronounce his last name. I mean, you're 24 and you know how to pronounce your last name. Guys, everyone leave a happy birthday to Matt. But everyone,
yeah. So
yeah, go.
Tyler Shough, a guy who in early February was projected outside of the top 200 by NFL mock draft database. Now the consensus mock draft are putting him inside the top 3 rounds. I've seen him mocked to the quarterback needy teams in the 2nd round a lot. So that would be the Cleveland Browns with the first pick in the 2nd round, and the New York Giants right behind them in that 2nd round. We haven't heard a whole lot of buzz on this player as a 1st round draft prospect, but anything could happen. Anything's possible. We know how important quarterbacks are to an NFL team. So if someone thinks that their franchise quarterback is in the draft, they're not going to care what anyone else tells them. They're just going to go ahead and take him in the 1st round. So Tyler Shough, looking at if he should be a 1st round pick, first thing you got to always look at when talking about 1st round prospects is those elite traits. Tyler Shough, he is 6'5", so he does have the height. He is not super athletic. He's not a mover there, so he doesn't have elite mobility. His arm strength, also not elite, but it's solid, so he can make every throw in the book. He just can't make those Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, rolling one way, throw it all the way across the field type of throws, which honestly, if you scheme up a good offense, you shouldn't really need to be making those types of throws, but that's just, that's something that you would be looking for in the top 10 that he doesn't have. He is able to layers pass as well. He is able to put more power on the pass or take it off depending on how deep his wide receiver is, depending on what the coverage is looking like. So he's a pretty good quarterback, which I know is the hot take of the year, a guy being talked about in the 1st round being a good quarterback. But the New York Jets, they are going to be looking at every single option. And I know our report said that a lot of people in the building are looking at this guy, and he has convinced them that he can be the New York Jets' long-term starting quarterback. The only guys that he really does have to convince is going to be Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey. So I don't think this guy should be taken in the 1st round. I don't really think the New York Jets should be considering him at 7. I think it's much more likely if the New York Jets are going to go ahead and select him in the 1st round, it would be with a trade up back into the 1st round, either after taking a prospect earlier in the draft or trading all the way down from 7 all the way back into the end of the 1st round, where you get a guy who maybe the quarterback isn't actually worth a 1st round pick, but the team still wants to get that 5th round option attached to their rookie contract. So that's why they're going to go ahead and take him at the end of the 1st round That's what we saw happen with Lamar Jackson, and it worked out pretty well for the Baltimore Ravens. So this guy kind of coming out of nowhere, but honestly, I'm not entirely sure why he's coming out of nowhere because, like you said, he's been in college football for a long time. Yes, he's had multiple really, really bad injuries, one being a collarbone injury that was really bad. Also, this guy's injury history is kind of a mess, which is one of the things that led to him being stuck in college for so long. And if the New York Jets are going to go ahead and take a quarterback, I really think there are better options in this draft to take a shot on.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to that long college experience, we started college in 2019. This guy started college in 2018. We've been graduated for nearly 2 years, and this guy is just leaving college now after 3 years at Oregon, 3 years at Texas Tech, and 1 year at Louisville. But that year at Louisville was very solid. He had 3,195 passing yards for 23 touchdowns that season. He really, really looked very good. And now there's been a ton of talk about him being in that second tier of quarterbacks and really being a guy who many teams are going to look at. It doesn't feel like the Jets will be taking a quarterback, though, at that 7th overall slot. Samini mentioned that as well, that it feels unlikely, and said that Shough, Will Howard, and Kyle McCord excelled as play-action passers, which appeals to the Jets because that'll be a big part of their offense, finally. All of them could be available for the Jets in the second round at number 42. It's not likely, but maybe Jackson Dart from Ole Miss will slip. It would be a bold statement to take a quarterback that high, and chances are that the Jets will take a quarterback on day 3. Look, I'd way rather the Jets take a quarterback on day 3 than take one 42nd overall. I think they have more team needs. You're giving Justin Fields that money this season. He is your starting option. So I feel like it just, unless you're so sure, it's just better to not do it. And then when it comes to day 3 quarterbacks, are you really going to take one? Like, should you really take one? Day 3 quarterbacks have a very, very, very low hit rate. And on top of that, just looking at the team, it feels like such an interesting choice when the Jets already have 3 quarterbacks on their roster to go out there and then take a quarterback who's going to be some day 3 probable miss. And I understand day 3's tougher, and you're not going to get the highest quality prospects, but we know the quarterback success rate, and it's not that great.
Yeah. So the point you're trying to make here is we have stronger needs that need to be addressed before taking another quarterback. If it's Shedeur Sanders there at 7, you don't have to convince me to take the guy who's a consensus top 10 pick. You can just go ahead and take him. But outside of that and Cam Ward, like the quarterbacks, like you said earlier in the video, not extremely exciting in this draft class. We went back to 2019 looking at all the quarterbacks taken on day 3, which are rounds 4 through 7. And of the 32 quarterbacks taken, only one quarterback ever turned into a actually franchise quarterback, that being Brock Purdy. And, if you want to call Gardner Minshew a hit, which we definitely wouldn't, he would also be in that group, but definitely not an inspiring history of draft picks of guys taken in that range. Even in the second round, the hit rate is also very, very low. It's not something you want to be interested in. The way you find a franchise quarterback is by taking him in the first round, but you got to make sure you're not reaching on a guy. So if there's not a guy there at 7 for the New York Jets to be the franchise quarterback, they're not going to be able to take one. We do think it's going to be either the right tackle or the tight end, which are both important needs for the New York Jets. I'm just hoping, like you, if they take a quarterback in this draft, I'm really hoping it's not a reach wherever we take him and whoever we take.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite option at this point would be my 2 favorite options. One of them is Jalen Milroe because of the potential. It's just, you're picking him high up, but you take the shot on the potential. If you're going to trade down as well, then it would be a much better pick also. If you trade down, again, the trade that just comes to mind is the idea of trading with the Falcons and landing Kyle Pitts. If you're then like, all right, let's stack up this offense and also let Jalen Milroe potentially get a year under his belt of playing this backup role to Justin Fields with the ability to take Fields' job. Again, we've talked about this. It puts a lot of pressure on Fields because from day 1, Jets fans are going to instantly start rooting against Justin Fields and rooting for Jalen Milroe. we just drafted this player bias. It happens with every sport, every team. No matter who it is, you want to see the rookie that you just picked, especially if it's a first-round pick. And again, this basketball's a lot different because there's like 6 players who work out in the NBA draft. I know I'm going to get hate for that, but we've talked about this a lot, obviously not on Jets Digest, but we've talked about it a lot. The first pick, usually the first overall pick, is a pretty clear shot of greatness in basketball. And after that, it's not necessarily a guessing game, but it's a coin flip. So the NFL's not like that. And frankly, Jalen Milroe kind of feels like a coin flip. And if it works really well. Or it just won't work. And you could take that risk if you're the Jets. It would be interesting to see. Outside of that, I don't hate the idea of Kyle McCord as well. Grew up a Jets fan in Pennsylvania, which is interesting. The Jets have shown a lot of interest in him, so I might just be basing it off that. You look at a guy like Will Howard as well, who had a great year, obviously won the national championship, 16 games played, had a 73% completion percentage, which was the best in the Big Ten, led the Big Ten in passing yards at 4,010, led them in touchdowns with 35. So there's a lot of love for Will Howard as well. And then in regards to Kyle McCord, who actually spent the 3 prior years at Ohio State before leaving for Syracuse, led the ACC in completions with 391, had the most attempts as well, and also had the most yards in the ACC at 4,779, with the most yards per game, understandably, as well. So there's a few different options here, Matt. At the end of the day, do I think the Jets are going to take a quarterback? Kind of. I don't think they're... It's tough. It's tough to gauge, because it's like... You have this later day quarterback in Jordan Travis, who's your third stringer already. So you're essentially just fully punting on him, which, I mean, again, not going to be a surprise if they do, but it just feels like
the new GMs, the new regime here isn't going to care about Jordan Travis.
Not at all.
They didn't draft him.
Yeah.
Think about any other NFL teams, round 5 picks. We don't care about them. Like, why would we? So they're going to come in. It's the same thing. If someone else's draft pick, he's going to say, if Jordan Travis comes in and shows out in camp, Aaron Glenn's going to say, great, what a nice surprise. But he's expecting absolutely nothing out of Jordan Travis. And Jordan Travis is not going to stop him from selecting whichever quarterback he wants to take on day 3, should Aaron Glenn want to go ahead and select a quarterback.
I agree. Guys, who do you want to see the Jets draft if they pick a quarterback? Who's your favorite option? At what round would you want to see that at? Let us know in the comments down below. Let Matt know to have a very, 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 very happy birthday. Also, on top of that, subscribe to our channel. Have a great day and go Jets.